The farmer's son who touched the sky. In a small, dusty village lived a boy named Aman. His father was a farmer who worked day and night in the fields, yet barely earned enough to feed the family. Aman's clothes were old, his slippers always broken, and at night he often studied under a dim lantern because electricity was rare in their home. But Aman had one dream: to become a pilot and fly airplanes. People in the village laughed at him. "Are Aman, you don't even have proper shoes. How will you ever fly in the sky?" Even his relatives told his father, "Stop your son from wasting time. Poor children can't afford such big dreams." But Aman never argued. He simply looked at the airplanes flying high above and whispered to himself, "One day, I will be up there too." Every morning before school, Aman helped his father plow the fields. His hands would bleed from the hard tools, but he never complained. At school, he sat on the last bench because he couldn't afford books. Instead, he borrowed old notes from friends and studied late at night. When his slippers tore apart, he walked barefoot to school. Villagers mocked him. "Here comes the farmer's son who wants to become a pilot." Aman smiled silently and walked on. Years passed. Aman's hard work paid off. He scored the highest marks in his district and won a scholarship for college in the city. Leaving his small village behind, he entered a new world: big classrooms, polished students, expensive lifestyles. At first, Aman felt out of place. Some classmates even laughed at his accent, his clothes, his simplicity. But instead of feeling ashamed, Aman worked harder. He spent nights in the library, mornings in part-time jobs, and every free second chasing his dream. He applied for flying school, but the fees were too high. For a moment, his dream seemed impossible again. Yet Aman remembered his father's words, "Son, if your dream is true, God Himself will open doors for you." Aman applied for every scholarship he could find. He worked cleaning tables at restaurants, delivering newspapers, and tutoring kids. Slowly, step by step, he gathered enough to join the academy. Training was not easy. Flying required discipline, sharp focus, and endless practice. Sometimes Aman failed. Sometimes his instructors doubted him. But every time he sat in the cockpit, his heart whispered, "This is where I belong." Years later, the boy who once walked barefoot in the fields was now wearing a crisp uniform with shining wings on his chest. His name was announced: Captain Aman, ready for takeoff. As his plane lifted from the runway into the open sky, tears filled his eyes. He remembered the fields, the broken slippers, the mocking villagers. When he returned home, flying a real airplane, the same villagers who once laughed stood in awe. One child asked him, "Baya, how did you do it?" Aman smiled and said, "Don't let your background decide your future. If you dare to dream and never give up, the sky itself will bow down to you." Moral: no dream is too big for a determined heart. Even the poorest soil can grow the tallest tree if nurtured with faith and hard work.